Is a judge going to stop Kanye? So is a judge going to stop Kanye? That's the question. I mean, if you've been following any of the Instagram stuff going on today, and I mean, this is going back for a couple months now, there's just a ton of stuff out there. And I've got a lot of the different Instagram posts that he has been posted since basically the beginning of February. This is kind of when it started on Instagram. And I don't know if you've seen some of this stuff, but I mean, it started with, I think it was around beginning of February of this year. He put a picture of his daughter of North up there, and he said, since this is my first divorce, I need to know what I should do about my daughter being put on TikTok against my will. So that's kind of how it all started. It started with this first post and this first picture of North and on Instagram. And, it hasn't stopped since then. I mean, it really hasn't stopped. It's pretty shocking, honestly, that it has continued to this extent. Now, the questions that are obviously out there is about Kanye's behavior, because it's not just that it hasn't stopped, but it hasn't gotten any better. I mean, like today's post was one of the first ones that at least I've seen, and I'm sure there's been a couple others, and I think Kim Kardashian has kind of verbally sparred with him over Instagram. I think on a couple other ones, and I'll have to kind of go back through some of these older ones. But today she came out and she told him, basically, please stop with this narrative. You were just here this morning picking the kids up for school. So just basically saying, hey, Kanye, I get it. You are, kind of pushing this, as she stated, narrative that he's not allowed to see his daughter, not allowed to, because his post today was, this is on my daughter's backpack when I was allowed, and he put in quotation marks, to see her last week. This is why I go so hard for my family. I am wired to protect my family at all costs. As the priest of my home, don't worry, nor the God is still alive. So that was his post. Posted that today. Today's March 14, 2022. He posted it, and then Kim responded, within a couple hours. And that was her response of, to stop with the narrative. And, you were just here this morning to pick up the kids from school. And around the time before, it looks like, because I'm pretty sure he deleted that one, that post, Kim's post, that is. He still has his, because he goes through a series of posting and then deleting and posting and deleting and posting and deleting, which, he's free to do it as far as deleting the posts. I mean, it's his Instagram, but he just deletes them all the time. I mean, he's posting like 5 of them a day, and then he deletes them. So it's just, again, I don't know if that's, I don't know. That's not what I do. That's not how I use Instagram. It's not just to like post and to use it, but maybe there's some other people that use it in this way. It's just a little bit of a different way to use social media. It's kind of like a diary, or, something that he's kind of where his thoughts are going on that day. And he posts it out there for that day, and then he deletes it. So it's there, and then it's gone. And, a lot of people do obviously screenshot them, and I've basically kept almost, probably not all of them, because I don't check his Instagram feed every single day, but, the days when I look on it or there's something that comes out, I've kept a lot of them, just because it's truly turning into one of the worst co-parenting situations publicly that I've seen as a divorce lawyer. So I've been a divorce lawyer for 15 years. That's all I do is divorce in Florida. So this is, obviously, I don't practice in Los Angeles. Both of them have very good attorneys. Both of the attorneys were on Dr. Dre's divorce. We have a video, which is, we can link that up there, that about the Dr. Dre divorce, and it's the same attorneys that are representing Kim and Kanye, and it's basically something that they're kind of used to this from a celebrity standpoint. They deal with a lot of these celebrity cases. They deal with a lot of the same types of issues that are happening in these types of cases, and so they're used to these cases continuing to go on and continuing to happen. So they're used to this. Their attorneys know what's happening. Their attorneys know what's going on, and they know how to deal with it. It's just the difference in this case is it's pretty extreme, and I think that everybody can kind of agree that this is different. This is not a normal way to try and co-parent, and that was something that they discussed early on, um, and they said that they wanted to co-parent. They have 4 children together. They are trying to co-parent in a way to make sure that their kids are looked after. But if they continue to do this, and really it's not they, Kim, I think, is trying to stay back. She's trying to pull herself back, in this situation. But Kanye is consistently every day on Instagram, not every day, but I mean, for everybody that's been watching this and following it, it's pretty much every day. It's something that's continuing to happen and continuing to be something that every day there's something new coming out on Instagram. There's a new post. There's something that Kanye is putting out there and that Kim feels like she needs to react to. And this is different. So I mean, this isn't something that, I mean, at least for 15 years of doing this, that I've ever seen so public. For Kim today to post this post of saying, please stop this narrative, and get over 112,000 likes when I screenshotted this. I mean, that was more than his post. I mean, his post had like 30,000 likes at that point. But I mean, they're basically within a comment thread going back and forth whenever they feel like it, with the entire world watching it. So that's different. I've never seen anything like that before. Obviously, with their followers, with Kim's huge number of followers, and Kanye's, I think he's got like 15 million followers. It's a different way of the divorces of these celebrity and this magnitude. I don't think they're going to happen like this consistently. I feel like Kanye is his own. Kanye is different, and I think we know from the past and his history and his in his music, he's different. He beats the I get it, he's different, but what he's doing right now is a problem. I mean, it's a disaster. It's an absolute, like, of epic proportions. And I know he sits there and does these posts and then he deletes them, right? So you would think, okay, well, they're deleted, they're gone. No. I mean, they're screenshotted everywhere. There's news sources all over the place that they're screenshotting this stuff, that are holding on to these screenshots, and for use in either further stories or whatever. And just like I said, for myself, I'm a divorce lawyer. I've talked about this Kim Kardashian and Kanye West divorce. I have another video that I did last year going way into the specifics of the divorce. And the way I end the video is, if they can co-parent together, they can get through this just fine. Like, there's no question in my mind that two people that are as smart as they are, they're successful in the different things that they've done, they can continue, and especially with the help that they have. I mean, teams of nannies, and you can co-parent with 4 children. You can have assistants. You can have all these people to assist you. You can do all these different things. That shouldn't be a problem. Like, absolutely, that should not be a problem. But I think Kanye just, went to the edge with this. And it started, I think, beginning of last month. and it's continued. It's not stopping. So my question in the video is, is a judge going to stop it? Is a judge going to stop Kanye? Because their divorce is still going on. And I know that there's, a bunch of articles and things out there of saying, well, they entered the divorce. Yeah, the judge did enter the divorce. And this is just, I don't want to get too much into like the legal stuff. I'm a divorce lawyer, 15 years is what I do. I understand the background. I've looked through their whole case. I have all of their documents. I've gone through a lot of the different stuff. Yes, they're legally divorced. And this happens a little bit more in California than it does in some other places. But the judges a lot of times will, basically find them to be divorced and then deal with the other stuff later. So they'll deal with the assets and the custody and the stuff with the kids. But their divorce case is still in full swing. It ain't stopping. It's going to continue on. It's going to continue going. And because honestly, I feel it's because of this mess. And really it's because of, I don't know if it's just Instagram. That's just what I'm seeing it on. And that's what I'm seeing also in other news sources as well, that's really where a lot of it's coming from. I'm guessing his next album is going to be like literally just all divorce. It's going to be like the Donda Part 3, and it's going to be like divorce, 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 divorce. And, saw that, he still has that one up on his page where it says divorce, and he goes through like, it looks like song lyrics, and then his next one is dead and saying, different things. So I don't know if he's going to use that for his next album. I don't know if he's using this as a way to build it. I'm sure there's other people that have speculated and said, is this something that's being done, to push forward? I don't think in a situation like this, Kim wants anything to do with this. There's no reason she needs any of this. And to have to publicly go out there and like she did today and say, Kanye, stop, stop pushing this narrative. You were just here this morning picking up the kids for school. For her to have to do that, I mean, I think she's kind of at the end of her rope of like, this is what else are we supposed to do? We're basically billionaires. They got all the money they could ever need or use, but they can't just find a way to co-parent together. They can't find a way to act in their kids' best interest, and that's ultimately what a judge at the end of the day would be looking for. Is, are they acting in the children's best interest? And so while I feel like Kim is doing what she can, and again, it takes two. And from the divorce perspective, I get it. I deal with a lot of really tough, contentious cases and a lot of tough custody situations with divorces. And it takes two. It takes two to tango. And, there can be one person that's just, doing everything they can, but the other side's not, or posting Instagram posts every darn day, multiple times a day. That makes it pretty hard to co-parent. I don't know how you get through that. I don't know the answer for Kim specifically, and I'm sure her attorney, who's Laura Wasser, who's one of the biggest celebrity attorneys there are out there. I'm sure that they've had considerable conversations of like, okay, what are things that we can do within the divorce proceeding, which is still going on, even though she's considered legally single from that perspective. The divorce proceeding is still going on. They're going to have to deal with the 4 children that they have, their assets. I know there was some talk of, maybe the prenup being challenged or something. I haven't read that part of it because there was a whole bunch of other filings that came out more recently around the time, the flurry of activity when they were actually divorced. But that's the kids. That's going to be the issue. And that's what I said at the end of my video, not quite a year ago, but I mean, she filed over a year ago. When I did the video, I said, if they can co-parent, if they can just find a way to work together on this, they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. They have the teams of people that can help them, the lawyers, and, can get them through this process. It's not that complicated. They got enough money that they're not going to want for anything for the rest of their lives. And the children will definitely not want for the rest of their lives, except for some, really bad, financial decision-making, maybe, then there might be problems. But for the most part, they're going to be fine. The kids will be fine. The, parents are going to be fine. What the heck is that? I don't know how to delete that off of there. So I guess I'll do that later. But no, thank you for that. So the fact is that I'm not great at this live streaming thing. So when I get stuff that's like really super creepy and weird, um, yeah, let's see. Okay, all right, all right, cool. All right, just wanted to take that off because that was super weird. So basically, the fact is that they're going to be fine if they can find a way to deal with the co-parenting situation. So, and I think they can do that. I really feel like they can get to that point of being um, parents that are there for their four kids. It's just, I mean, what Kanye is doing right now is ridiculous. I mean, that's it's as simple as that. It's just, it's can a judge stop him from posting on Instagram? I mean, judges can do all different types of things. They can, at least in Florida, they can do injunctions and restraining orders, things of that nature. Whether or not this is going to rise to that level of something, similar in California, and I can't say that I know enough about California law to say the specific things that the judges have at their, at their their arsenal of what they can do. They can do things to protect the children, and they can do things to protect Kim. So that's, I think, where the judge would go. It's when they start infringing upon free speech and his ability to as an artist to make music and to do that's where it gets tricky. I don't know the answer for that if it's going to go to that level. And again, Laura Wasser, excellent attorney. She knows what she's doing. She's going to tell Kim the different options that she has available. She's going to tell her, "Hey, Kim, you know, Yi is, not going in the right direction that we thought." I mean, I wonder if she knew that something like this would happen. And I know there's been obviously a lot of talk about that. Of has this been something that's been going on in this type of behavior? Um, Kanye has been, so just today, really. I mean, it's the first time I've seen it where he talks about being gaslit, and saying that people are gaslighting him, and that's the first I've heard him, kind of go to that direction. But again, the posts that I'm seeing, it's not, Kim starting these things. It's Kanye not just starting it, but finishing it and then taking it to another level. Obviously he has an issue with Pete Davidson, Kim's, I guess you can call him, her boyfriend, Skeet, as Kanye likes to call him. So he's got a problem with Skeet, right? And Pete Davidson, even, I guess, in a text message sent to Kanye, even said, yo, this is Skeet. Basically on Kim's phone, like, can you stop? That's the Cliff Notes version of it. So I don't have that one up in front of me, but the fact is that um, you know, I think on Kim's side of things, they've tried to pull back from it because it's just not good. I mean, this is stuff that not only gets to your kids, but will follow your kids, for a long period of time. And most people in divorce situations that I deal with on a daily basis, because I'm a divorce lawyer, don't have to have hundreds of millions of people, seeing what's going on in their divorce case and what's going on in, their personal lives and what's going on, with their children. So I think that um, the fact is that, let's see here, let me pull up another one. So back in February, Kim actually was talking about Kanye's attacks on her, and that was when this all kind of percolated to the surface, right? And she did basically kind of put out a statement, on, I think it was a story on Instagram, that about, she said, Kanye's constant attacks on me in interviews on social media is actually more hurtful than any TikTok North might create. And that was referencing the first one that just kind of started this whole mess. I mean, it's a mess. That's the easiest way to state it. It's an absolute mess. It's a disaster. So, Kim said back in February, she's the parent who's the main provider, caregiver for her children. She's trying to protect her daughter. Divorce is difficult. Want to handle matters privately. Hopefully, he can respond to the third attorneys he's had in the last year to resolve any issues amicably. So that's kind of a paraphrase, but it's going through. And he actually went through in another Instagram post and kind of like, he didn't like that she said main provider and and all that. So again, but I mean, I think what she was trying to do at that point was like, hey, this was probably crafted. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe this is all her. Maybe she had, some PR people kind of helping her. Maybe somebody from Laura's office or somebody was helping her. But for the most part, it's like, hey, I got to respond, but my response is basically going to say, let's just pull back. Let's just, it's unfortunate. Like she said in there from the beginning, I've wanted nothing but a healthy and supportive co-parent relationship because this is what's best for our children. And it saddens me that Kanye continues to make it impossible every step of the way. So she wanted to handle things privately. She wanted to handle things amicably, and it can still be handled privately. It can still be handled amicably. It's not, all hope is not lost, just because of the fact that, this has happened. They can find ways to, get back into a better situation and a better co-parenting relationship. It's not impossible. So I mean, I think that's something that's probably hard, for her to see right now. I think Kim Kardashian at this point would be looking at this and saying, what are we going to do? Is this ever going to stop? And I think that's what a lot of people feel like in this situation when they're dealing with behavior like Kanye's. And I think that's kind of not, I don't think many people will ever have that feeling of, and again, they live in a very public, specter and, spectacle. And it's, this is just part of their lives and everything they've created and, that they've been a part of. But I mean, to literally every single pickup and drop off, possibly to be shared with the world, is, I mean, I'm not sure. I can only imagine that she's having significant conversations with lots of different people of what her options are, and that's why I titled this, at least initially, what a judge can do. Because I mean, ideally in this situation, she tried to, through kind of like a PR move, and went to Instagram and basically said, hey, Kanye, let's pull it back, by that statement that she made back in February. That clearly didn't work. There was a retraction point. He kind of pulled everything back, and then that was kind of an odd, and he had like a picture, I think it was like an ocean and receding and saying that he's working on things and he's not perfect. And, I think there's even comments on there where people were like, all right, well, let's just wait to see how long this lasts for. But, it's been a cyclical event that's just, it's continued. I mean, it just hasn't stopped. I mean, he will go in and out of these different phases. I mean, I have these different posts from back in February. I think it was February 25th. Where he's talking about Pete Davidson, calling him Skeet. And then let's see. When he released his stem player, he seemed to be in a good place. But he goes back and forth. He's talking about, people in the family, and then he talks about his album, and he puts on his net sales since the launch, and all this other information, run rates, and information about when he released his album. So he's got all this information. So he goes in and out on his Instagram of kind of more lucid information about his album and entertainment, and then he'll go back into a very divisive post and continue with that rhetoric. I mean, that's about as consistent as you can get. That no matter, he can go on, he can go to a, be in a good place of posting different things about his album, about the stem player, and then, just out of the blue, just be making fun of Skeet, Pete Davidson, who he calls him, and just constantly. I mean, I'm back on, February 17th, pictures of Pete Davidson, and, over and over, it's just this constant, it's just not stopping. That's the problem. And like I said, and this is where it was February 15th. I think this is an important one. Like 2.2 million people liked it. He said on February 15th, Kanye West said, "I've learned that using all caps makes people feel like I'm screaming at them. I'm working on my communication. I can benefit from a team of creative professionals, organizers, mobilizers, and community leaders. Thank everybody for supporting me. I know sharing screenshots was jarring. It came off as harassing Kim. I take accountability. I'm still learning in real time. I don't have all the answers. To be a good leader is to be a good listener." So, I mean, if it stopped at that, I mean, I think Kim's entire, camp would have been a lot happier. And, there was just this photo of him, I don't know how this will come out. This photo of him with, it's just this mystical, it looked kind of like an ocean, but I guess it's like smoke. And that could have been the point where he stopped. That could have been a point where he said, "You know what? I'm turning over my leaf." This was about a month ago right now. So this is February 15th. So it's been about a month. He could have stopped. He could have said, "All right, I'm done. I'm over with this. I'm gonna, focus my talents and my, what I want to do in other places." But he chose not to. He made a very specific choice that, somewhere around that time, that he was going to continue back up. It's just been a cyclical, throughout the month of February and into March. And, I'm not going to say it culminated today, because there's just been a lot. There's been obviously some stuff I haven't seen. And then the one from March 5th was the divorce post. So that one, I know that doesn't come out very well on camera, but I think it's becoming, he's left that one up. He hasn't left up much on his Instagram. He's got one about divorce, and, he goes through different, which, he's telling about the process of basically grieving through the divorce process, and his feelings. And I'm sure, that's you know, I'm sure he has another feeling of why he wrote that and why he put it up there. But divorce is a very painful process. And, most people, when they're going through it, are feeling the same feelings that they're feeling when dealing with the loss of a loved one, like a spouse or child or family member, close family member. You go through a lot of the same grieving processes. And obviously, it seems like, at least from reading that, I mean, he's been going through a lot, inside and within him and struggling with it. So that's one thing. That's the kind of the normal side of going through divorce and dealing with a lot of the different emotions that come up, finding ways to deal with it in a healthy, meaningful way. And then there's the whole other side. I mean, he said it himself, about harassing Kim, on that February 15th post. Um, and as a divorce lawyer, and my client's giving me that stuff, if they're providing that to me and I'm going to be using that for a hearing, that's one of the ones that I'm pointing to. I'm pointing to it where he said himself that he knows, that it could be coming off as harassing. And I mean, that's a problem. If you know that it could be interpreted as harassing and then you're continuing to do it, that's where I think that everybody has to, kind of look at it from the context that, um, he knows. This was another one. There was like a West v. Davidson when he did that, and there's like I think he was sharing somebody's. Yeah, it was somebody made like a poster, and it was like West v. Davidson. So, yeah, I'm trying to find that one again. And again, it's a lot of posts. So, I mean, he's definitely been busy with that. But so, yeah, February 15th, and still saying, I know sharing screenshots with Jordan came off as harassing Kim. So he's saying it from, okay, and he takes accountability of sharing screenshots. But again, this understanding that maybe sharing screenshots is harassing, but then not understanding the fact that just the constant beratement and the constant just over and over again on Instagram every day of a different post and something else that's going to get, 20 calls from different media outlets and everybody asking and everybody wondering, or is this text going to get shared? Is this, personal piece of information going to get shared? Is this going to turn up in a new song? Is this, that's, I don't know if he thinks that he's keeping people on their toes. If he's, I don't know if he knows what he's doing right now of how he's approaching that, but it does, appear to be something that, he needs to talk to somebody that he believes, and not he believes, but that can help him, that he trusts, somebody that he trusts. It's not just, kind of a yes man for him. So he needs to have somebody that can give him some advice, that he can listen to. And I know that it said in February that he was on his third attorney. I think he had a different attorney at the final, not the final hearing, but the hearing that, rendered them to be now divorced at the beginning of this month. So he had a new attorney at that, and that was another attorney from the Dr. Dre divorce. So, he's gone through all these different attorneys. So I don't think he's really finding anybody that he can trust legally. Do you need to trust your attorney complicitly and absolutely, and yes, as an attorney, I would say, you need to listen and hopefully, you listen and you take some of it. But I understand that clients don't listen to me, all the time or vast majority of the time or whatever. But um, you know, you hope that you get nuggets of advice through to a client. You hope that they will listen to you about certain things. And that's with Kanye as well. You hope that an attorney can get through to him at some point and say, "Hey man, this is not going the right way." Maybe in litigation, if it's a music deal or if it's something or a promoter or something, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it plays out in the media, in a different light. If he's been wronged, in the past for different things. In one of the videos, kind of discussed about, a deposition that he gave. But this is kids, and they're kind of in the middle of all of this. And that's, kind of where, it starts to go into, this is crossing the line. And again, can bad behavior be rectified? And I think it can be forgiven. I think that, Kim at some point may be able to move past parts of it, but I don't think it ever goes away. I think the lack of trust, I think there'll be a fear there, for her, um, forever to a certain extent. I mean, I don't have any knowledge of it, but I just can't imagine that she's looking at this and watching this. If it prompted her today to reply, I mean, it's affecting her. If she knows that by playing into this, you know, kind of game, and I'm sure he would characterize it, it's not a game, and this is life, and this is his kids. I get it. I get it. I hear it all the time, and especially I hear it all the time for, I represent men, women, people like Kanye, people very unlike Kanye. Like I've seen it all. And I know he's going to say, this isn't a game. This is just about my kids. I don't know. I don't buy it. I don't buy that you need to, Instagram post all this stuff that it's just about the kids. And I mean, there's other ways you can do it that's not going to irreparably damage, a child, and have to deal with the questions, they're going to result for this for the rest of their life. But can it be rectified? Can they go in back to that kind of North Star, can they go back to that goal of what they originally had in the beginning? And they both had that at the beginning of the divorce. They wanted to both be good co-parents. They wanted to be a team. They wanted to be there for their kids, and they wanted to find a way for their kids to, get through this in a more healthy way, especially with, their lives are complicated. They have a lot going on. They both do work very hard. And I know they have a lot, and I'm sure a lot of people be like, well, they're billionaires, they got all this, and they got, they're still busy and they're doing these different things, and they can, continue to have a life for their kids, that they obviously want to be able to provide for them. Um, but as co-parents, I just think it's going to be very hard to get back to that place that they originally, that North Star that they wanted to attain to, a year ago, when this all started, when the divorce started, when Kim filed, kind of like right out of the blue, it was right before Keeping Up with the Kardashians season, ended. Myself personally, I thought it would happen, kind of a little bit more coinciding with the season ending and all that. But, but she filed. I think that's something that she needed to do for her, to be able to move on and to get to the next phase of her life. She needed to file and, take a stand from that perspective. But, nothing since then has, really shown to me that that's, going to be the case, that they're going to be able to find a way to make this kind of, I don't want to call it normal, because every divorce is hard, and there's different, every case is different. Everybody's situation is going to be different. But I mean, how do they get back to a place where they can, have a little, like a modicum of just a tiny little bit of trust between the two of them? How do they get to that point? Quick water break. So another post on Instagram, when Kanye asked, and this is kind of, again, the first, when this all first started, he said, "Since this is my first divorce, I need to know what I should do about my daughter being put on TikTok against my will." I understand there's like crowdsourcing but I mean, he's got people. He's got people he can talk to. He's got people that he can, if he really wants information, he can go to them. He doesn't need to put it on there for 10, 12, I don't know what he's up to now, 15 million, whatever, followers. It's not necessary. It's something that he's choosing to do it because let's see. I just want to see if there's 2 new posts. I mean, okay. So the last post, it was 59 minutes ago. Geez. So I mean, there was one 3 hours ago. So he's taking magazine articles now, and he's just commenting on them. So I guess there was a OK Magazine, which was hashtag Kim Kardashian is done. So he's taking the magazine article and then he's replying to it. I mean, it's a lot. I'm not going to read through the whole thing. And then Perez Hilton posted, Kim Kardashian lashes out at Kanye West over his latest lies. Enough is enough. So then he responds to that. So this is 59 minutes ago. And now it's 1 hour because I looked back. He said, "What did I lie about? I am allowed to see my kids. I'm also mad that I can't be written off as an abuser or stalker. I'm also mad that Skeet showed who he really is right before the Hulu trailer dropped. I'm not a bad guy. Kim's not a bad person. Kids want parents to stay together, but Hulu needed a new narrative." So now he's mad at Hulu. Yes. He did that beef one before. I don't even know what this one is about. I have no idea what this one is about. I don't know. He just posted another one like 15 minutes ago. So it's like a again, it's up to him of how he wants to live his life. Instagram has definitely become a place for obviously celebrities as well to really put statements out there. People are able to provide information at a really grand scale, like a very, very large scale that otherwise they wouldn't be able to do. And that's, I mean, it makes it a very powerful mode. It's not like you have to wait, to talk to a reporter and then, wait for the article to run, hope that the article says exactly what you want it to say. It's a different type it's a different mode communication, especially for celebrities and for people that are trying to put a message out there. So Kanye West is trying to put a message out there, in very short blips that he then deletes within a day. I don't know if, I guess it's like Snapchat, right? I don't know. I don't use Snapchat. So I guess I shouldn't be like trying to talk about Snapchat if I know nothing about it, but I know that there's like, different types of communication that obviously just like poof, disintegrates within short periods of time. It's kind of similar. Like and obviously stories, on Instagram, it's up there for 24 hours and it's gone. So I guess this isn't a new thing, but he's doing them as like posts so there can be comments. This isn't just him doing it as a story. That way, then everybody can see this and they can see it and then scroll through. And I guess they could like DM him and stuff. He wants the comments and he wants other people to say it. And maybe he wants Kim to comment. And maybe he kind of, I hate to say it, but maybe he kind of got a little bit of what he wanted today. He got a reaction from Kim. I don't know. I mean, that's a tough way to characterize it, to say it. I know that's, just by her defending herself and just again kind of saying like stop. It does sometimes play into a narrative of what he's trying to. I know he says that she's got a narrative and there's everybody's talking about everybody else having a narrative, but he wants a response. He wants her to talk to him. I mean, it's, and he kind of got that. From my desk, stand up. I'm sure that makes for a great video, but it just felt like standing up. I hope that's okay. All right, so I'm standing up. Got my water. Got my stand. I don't know. It gets brighter when I put that on. Just having some normal lighting type issues. All right, so let's. So again, lots of different perspectives, at least from the media. I haven't read all the different media articles on this. I haven't gone through everything painstakingly. There's a lot out there that seems to be pretty consistent that Kanye needs to stop. That Kim is dealing with this in a way that that's tough. I mean, that's not an easy thing, I think, for anybody to go through at a different level. If you're dealing with a normal divorce or custody situation, and the other side is being harassing or stalking or whatever, you know. Um, that's it's scary, and it's hard to know what to do and how to stop it. Now, from this standpoint, if you have somebody that has, again, 12 million followers, and just on Instagram, I mean, that's not just with all the fans and everybody he has. Um, and I think that was kind of another part of, I think over the last month and a half, she was kind of like, whoa, just back off a little bit on Pete, because, you're going to get somebody to do something, you know, it could be dangerous. People are now targeting him. So, there's just these unintended consequences. Hopefully it's unintended consequences, but unintended consequences sometimes from actions. And if it is art, and if I don't know if that's going to be the narrative at some point, that, oh yeah, this was just for the album, or this was, for a movie I'm doing, or another documentary. Yeah, it doesn't look like that to me right now. Can it be turned at some point in the future? Absolutely. I mean, and that could be something that they could both kind of agree on, that we will, kind of let this slide, and, find a way to reframe it. But right now he's dealing with some stuff that he needs help from somebody that he trusts, and somebody that will listen to him. I don't think he's had an attorney that will listen to him. And I don't know if the people that he's close with tell him no. Maybe they do tell him no, and maybe they're fired. I don't know. I mean, but a quick stop would probably be a good thing. Again, I don't know if he's basically just testing the boundaries of what he's able to do. I have children, so I understand. He wants to see his kids. He wants to be a part of their lives. He wants to, and that's great. But by the actions that he's taking and what he's doing currently and consistently, he's going to make it harder for a judge. If ever had to go to a judge, and I'm not saying this will go to a judge, because most of these celebrity cases, they deal with private judges. They deal, they try to see what they can settle. They get it all teed up to go to trial, and then they, end up settling. It's just a lot of different things that don't go into like an OJ Simpson type trial, where like the whole world is watching. Like, at least in the divorce arena, it's not, criminal is different, because I mean, if you got to, if you don't want to go to jail, also, if you need to go to trial, you go to trial. But divorce, there's always usually there's some way to find some method to settle. And if you can, obviously you got to go to trial. But in these, celebrity cases, they usually just do find a way at some point. And that could be when you're going all the way through, and, just years of litigation. And I've talked about it in another live stream I did, Brangelina, they're still litigating over different stuff years later. So, I mean, these things can go on, but this is different. This is different. This is not something that I've seen like this, with this standpoint. I've seen it on, obviously, I've seen lots of different stalking, harassment. I've done tons of injunctions, done tons of different type of stuff, not from a level where somebody is, garnering a lot of support, of his 12 million followers. And that sometimes, I'm sure, can, for somebody like Kim, or 15.5 million, sorry, I said 12 million, 15.5 million followers as of right now. And obviously it's like, okay, well, Kim Kardashian, how many does she have? She is much more than that. She's got 292 million followers. Okay, all right. So she's got a lot of followers. He's got a lot of followers, but it doesn't matter if she has 200. It's like, okay, I had 20. Maybe Kim has 20 friends and he has 5. If those 5 friends are really teaming up against her, I mean, that's that's not a good thing. Even one person, I mean, it makes it a horrible, horrible set of circumstances. So I think that that's something that Kanye really needs to understand, and he really needs to, look back when he goes through this and see, what is, what are the possible, what good is going to come out of this? Like, there's just not a lot of good. Maybe it's cathartic for him. Maybe he, is able to use this to deal with the grief from the divorce. But I mean, I think that it's pretty clear that she views this as harassment. He even said it in that February 15th. If he wouldn't have said it unless somebody has said to him that that's how she feels that it is. And maybe, there's tons of different comments about it, so I don't know. I don't know if she's had a formal statement, a cease and desist, or I don't know. I haven't seen anything filed in the divorce case, which again, and that's kind of where we're at with this video, is where is a judge able to stop behavior? Judges are free to stop behavior. And I'm not going to talk about, what under California law, what they can do with their legal remedies, but it's a custody case. At the heart of it, that's, the money, they're going to figure that out. They came into this marriage with, their assets. They're going to be leaving. There might be some smaller things over it. The biggest fight in this case is their kids, and which normally would be able to be completely settled, not a big deal. Let's get this done. Let's get it over with. We got teams of people that can help us. We're going to get to see our kids. They're going to be set up. Everything's going to be fine. But now Kim is going to be left with the decision of, now what do I do? I've seen what he's capable of. She knows what he's capable of from during the marriage, and maybe that's a reason. And it sounds like at some point she just said it's enough. I think she tried to, at least in what I've seen early on, she tried to be very, above board with it and tried not to. I'm sure he will feel, like the SNL, monologue and all that. I'm sure he wasn't happy about some of that, but it seems like she's tried to, at least, it's not like every single post that he puts on there on Instagram, like she's like immediately like, no, like it's been few and far between, since the initial one. And I think there might've been something else, and maybe I don't remember how that Pete Davidson, how that kind of back off a little bit. Like, you're going to get this guy hurt because people are, there's lots of threats and lots of other stuff. Like, no, I mean, the one today was, a little bit more specific of, hey, we need to stop this. And, a really intentional, her not saying stop. She's basically standing up and saying, all right, I'm not going to just sit here and take this anymore. And that's hard. That's not easy, because you have a lot of people that support both sides. She has her support, he has his support, and it's kind of the court of public opinion, not just the legal court that they're going through. They're going through the legal battle. They're dealing with that, but then they're also the court of public opinion that's trying to weigh, what's going on and who's right, who's wrong. There's people on both sides of it that feel the other is completely right, and the other feels completely wrong. People that are very, steadfast in their beliefs. I do feel like the prevailing opinion is primarily that Kanye needs to just chill, and he needs to just back off. He needs to stop. I mean, this is accomplishing nothing. Again, catharsis, having 15 million people read it. Maybe there's some, feeling that he's getting from that. Maybe it'll sell more of the STEM Players and the Donda 2 album. I don't know. I don't know what the end game is. And I understand he's going to say it's grief. It's, it's just, this is very public grief. This is a very public way to deal with something so personal. that now his children are going to have to sit there and watch. So, a horrible way to go about doing it. Um, do I think it's the last post that he will post? No. I mean, I'll check. Let me check again. I mean, like I said before, I started this, and he had already like posted like 3 times. It's like it can't. And it's in, like I said, it's in real time. It's not stopping because it's in his brain of he's thinking, okay, what do I want to put out there next? What do I want to do? And he's not really taking into consideration, obviously, that this is affecting the kids. This is affecting Kim. This is obviously helping his ego. This is helping him be able to put out the information that he wants to. But it's destroying the co-parenting relationship with Kim. I mean, I don't think there's anything else but just a clear fact that they can never go back to where they were before. And how good it was, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing it wasn't bad. They seemed to be okay, at least in the beginning. So when the divorce started a year ago, they seemed to be fine. And again, they have handlers, they have people, they have assistants and their assistants probably have assistants. They have people that can coordinate all this stuff. And it's not like they have to be like on the phone. Okay, are you going to pick them up at 5? And you're going to go over here. We're going to meet the Publix. We're going to do this. So basically, we got a question. Duties and responsibility of a wife towards a husband, his family, and your country. And thank you for the comment. I appreciate it. So in America, so I'm in the United States of America, and duties and responsibilities of a wife towards a husband, his family, and your country. Yeah, I mean, there's no specific rights, from that perspective. Obviously, people need to, if we're talking about it from the Kanye and Kim Kardashian, because this is more of like a celebrity type video talking about from their perspective, is dealing with each other in a way that their celebrity divorce is so public, and they've really just created a public spectacle of a divorce, and that's not treating each other in any way, shape, or form correctly. And they are not in a situation where they can't come back from that. They can definitely, find ways. And I think, since this is primarily what this video is about, and I understand, there's some questions about that, but, and I can definitely, if you can reach out, maybe afterwards or something, and go a little bit in. But for the purposes of this video, but I do thank you for your question. For the purpose of this video, really what Kanye needs to do for his children specifically is to leave them out of it, because it's just too public. This doesn't need to continue happening. It's going to create a situation where these children are going to have to deal with this for the rest of their lives. And that might be extreme. It might be something that someday, maybe soon, Kanye realizes that this was not a great way to deal with the divorce proceeding. This was not a good way to deal with the fact that he and Kim it did not work out. They're divorced, and they're considered legally divorced. From that perspective, they're no longer husband and wife, but they're just now having to deal with property. They're having to deal with custody of their children. They're having to deal with these issues that it's just really hard to make these decisions and do these things when everybody's so at odds with each other. They're not in a place where they are able to work together. They're just in a lot of divorces, people just from the start can find ways to, immediately work together, to do things together, to, put the children first, to do all these different types of things. But, in sometimes it just takes a lot to get to that point. And I don't know how you come back from where they are at right now. Water break. More water. So the Kanye and Kim divorce, it's going to continue to keep going on. It's not going to be something that necessarily is going to be done overnight, because I really feel like with this new Instagram stuff and the fact that it's continuing to play out in the media like it is, it's just going to make it harder for them to be able to agree on anything. I think if you're at odds with somebody so much that you're tweeting or posting on Instagram on a daily basis or every other day, and you feel that's you're not going to want to sit down. Like, he didn't even really want to agree to the divorce, from what it seems. It seems like they had to kind of like force that side of it and go a little bit more from that. And he obviously was saying, Kanye West in the media was saying that he hadn't seen any divorce papers, he hadn't seen any of this. And again, in a previous video we went over the answer that he filed and he signed, and so he knew the divorce was pending, he knew it was going on. But it's not an easy answer. And I don't know. Again, that's the biggest question is, how do they come back from that? How do they come back from, where they're at right now? So courts do have options available to them. The judge has options. They can, at this point, men and women both have options in divorces. They have rights. They have rights, to see their children, to be a part of their children's lives. But then also, people have a right as well, to not be harassed. And I think Kanye has already said that he understands a lot of what he's doing is harassment. So I have a feeling that there'll probably be something, and again, this may all just happen between the attorneys. It may never escalate to a judge. If it does, I don't blame Kim for wanting to escalate this. And I'm sure those are discussions that they've had of like, what can be done, if anything, restricting, because like a restraining order, at least in Florida, if you know that you're posting something to reach out to somebody else, it's a whole murky side of things, and it gets tricky. But there's definitely contact in here that he's been doing that is just, it's problematic, from many different standpoints, and it's pretty gross. Simple as that. It's gross. So I'm hoping that he understands at some point that it's not getting him anywhere. And also another thing, I'm on YouTube. Obviously, I understand a little bit about social media enough to understand that it's not going away. And it's sometimes a preferred mode of entertainment and communication. So I understand there's always that possibility it could get worse, and these types of things can continue and can happen more and more. They're one of the most public couples, just like I said before, 292 million, followers on Instagram. That's not even including all of the different, social media platforms. That's just for Kim, and then for Kanye, another 15 million. I mean, they're very public. They're very, they are very well known, and their situation is going to be obviously a lot different than a lot of other people. But the correlation is, you could take away these 100,000 likes off of these posts, or 1,000 likes, thousands and thousands, and you get 1 like or 5 likes, and that's, sometimes what, kind of normal people are dealing with, and it's just as painful, I'm sure. If you're getting it and there's 5 likes or whatever, and your ex is saying that, or your current husband or current wife or whatever, it's still as painful. So that's another, part of it, that I think that there probably, I'm sure there's been conversations of like, is there anything that can be done? And I'm sure there's been correspondence back and forth between attorneys and between different people of trying to see if Kanye will pull back and, stop, because it's just not helping the children. That's the biggest part. So the goal is co-parenting. That's been their stated goal since I did my first video on this, back 8-9 months ago, I think. That's what they wanted. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to co-parent. They wanted to work together on things. They wanted to be there for their kids. They wanted to raise them. And right now, Kanye is destroying the co-parenting relationship. So I really hope he can kind of get it going in the right direction. And hopefully the next video that we do, it'll be going in a much more proactive direction. Thank you for watching. Thanks.